So today we're diving into Anis Jung's Lost Spring, and it's a really powerful look into the lives of children whose youth is, well, it's stolen. Stolen by the crushing weight of poverty and tradition. It's literally a collection of stories about stolen childhoods.
Think about this line for a second. It's spoken by a child, and it really just cuts right to the heart of our first story. It paints a picture of a world where garbage isn't just, trash. It's a place of survival, and sometimes, just sometimes, a little flash of hope. It's a world where kids are literally scrounging for what they call gold.
You see, the author, Anis Jung, she doesn't just tell these heart-wrenching stories, she really analyzes the deep-rooted issues behind them. She zooms in on these two massive forces, grinding poverty on one hand and suffocating traditions on the other. And it's these forces that trap kids in a cycle of exploitation, pretty much stealing their childhood before it even has a chance to start.
All right, so let's meet our first character. His name is Saheb, and his entire life revolves around a daily search for gold in the massive garbage dumps on the fringes of Delhi.
The author first meets Saheb as part of his group she describes so beautifully and tragically as an army of barefoot boys. I mean, what an image, right? They just kind of materialize in the morning, sifting through the city's trash, and then, just like that, they're gone by noon, almost like a force of nature.
So where do they live? In a place called Simapuri. Now, it's technically on the edge of Delhi, but as the author says, it's miles away from it metaphorically. This is a settlement of squatters from Bangladesh, and there are no basic amenities. We're talking no sewage, no drainage, nothing. And in a place like this, survival is everything. An official ID card means nothing, but a ration card that gets you grain, that's your lifeline.
And this is where we find out something, well, just incredibly ironic. The boy's full name is Saib-e-Alam. And do you know what that means? It means Lord of the Universe. This barefoot kid who spends all day picking through trash has a name that means he's the master of everything. The contrast is just staggering.
For the people in Simapuri, that garbage dump means two totally different things. For the adults, it's the harsh reality of their life. It's their job, their daily bread, it's what keeps a roof over their heads. But for the children, like Saheb, oh, it's a place wrapped in wonder. It's a treasure hunt. Finding a random coin or 10-rupee note is like striking gold. For them, it's a place of possibility.
Now, as a rag picker, Saheb didn't have much, that's for sure. But he had one thing: freedom. And that freedom was symbolized by the simple plastic bag he carried over his shoulder. It was his tool, but more importantly, it was his. He was his own boss.
But then, one day, the author sees him carrying something different. It's not his plastic bag, it's a heavy steel canister. He's gotten a job at a tea stall. He's earning 800 rupees a month plus his meals, which sounds like a good thing, right? But here's the catch. That canister, it's not his.
And that leads to this absolutely heartbreaking conclusion. The author notes that Saheb has lost the carefree look. That steel canister, she says, seems so much heavier than his old plastic bag ever did. And why? Because with this new job, this step towards so-called stability, he's traded his freedom. The bag was his, but the canister and his time now belong to someone else. His childhood is officially over. Okay, so that was Saheb's story. Now let's shift gears and meet a different kind of boy. This is Mukesh. And unlike Saheb, who sort of drifts into losing his freedom, Mukesh insists from the very beginning that he's going to be his own master. Mukesh's story takes place in Firozabad, a town that's basically synonymous with one single thing: glass bangles. It's the absolute center of India's glass-blowing industry, where for generations, families have done nothing but work around these fiery furnaces. And the bangles they make, they're beautiful. The author uses this incredible, poetic language to describe them. Spirals of sunny gold, paddy green, royal blue, every color you can imagine. You can just picture these vibrant mounds of color all over the town. But, and this is a huge but, behind all of that beauty lies a really dark and dangerous reality. We're talking about an estimated 20,000 children working illegally in this industry. They're slogging away their days in these dark, dingy cells with no fresh air, right next to scorching hot furnaces. A lot of these kids end up losing their eyesight before they even become adults. It's just mind-numbing, dangerous work. So you have to ask, why don't they just leave? Why don't they do something else? Well, Mukesh's grandmother really gets to the heart of it. She says it is his karam, his destiny. They're born into the caste of bangle makers, and to them, it's a God-given lineage.
And how can you break something that's been given to you by God? It's a trap made of tradition. So the author breaks it down for us. She identifies these two distinct, vicious circles that basically conspire to keep these kids trapped. It's a system that's incredibly difficult, almost impossible to escape.
Think of it like two interlocking traps. On one side, you have the family's world. It's this web of poverty, the burden of their caste, the years of backbreaking work. And then, on the other side, you have the systems circle, the middlemen who exploit them, the policemen, the politicians. They're trapped from the inside by family and from the outside by a corrupt system.
And here's the crucial point. When you put those two worlds together, they impose this impossible baggage on the child that he cannot put down. Before a kid is even old enough to really think for himself, he accepts this life as normal, as the only option. To even dream of doing something else, well, that would mean to dare.
And yet, amidst all of this darkness, all this bleakness, the author finds a little flicker of hope, a small but powerful flash of defiance that shines through in one boy's dream.
And that brings us right back to Mukesh. Because when the author asks him what he wants to be, he doesn't hesitate. He doesn't say bangle maker. He says, I want to be a motor mechanic. He knows the garage is a long way from his house, but his answer is so simple and so determined, I will walk. He insists on it. In that one quiet statement, his dream is already taking its first steps.
The author points out something interesting. Mukesh doesn't dream of flying a plane. Airplanes rarely even fly over his town. That dream feels too big, too unreal. He's content to dream of the cars he sees rumbling down the streets. And this leaves us with a final, really poignant question of the whole piece. In a world with such a low ceiling, where dreams are crushed almost by default, can a simple dream like being a mechanic, can it actually survive?